We'll move on to our afternoon agenda, in one respect, one of our favorite spots, but one of the saddest ones too, when we recognize Regent service on the board who will be leaving. So I'm going to call upon Regent Walsh, if he's listening, who will present a resolution of appreciation for Judy Crane. Regent Walsh. Judy's out there, right there. She'll come up when you...
Okay. She won't stand with me. It's my honor to introduce Judy Crane and read this resolution of appreciation. I never met Judy, whose real name is Judith V. Crane. I didn't know that till today. But I never met Judy Crane before she came on the Board of Regents. I knew about her brother, who was a star basketball player and was a very successful University of Wisconsin whitewater basketball coach for many years. I knew about her father, Augie Vander. Well, I'm going to say it wrong, but it was Augie, and he was the principal at La Follette High School. But before that, he was assistant principal at East High School, where Judy Crane graduated from in the 50s. Now, East High School, for most of you who don't know this, you go to East, you can't get in West High School. Now, so the first time I met Judy was at a board meeting, and it was clear to me how she prepared, what her thoughts were, what her commitment was, and what her passions were, that she really cared about students and education. I learned after that she certainly had a huge background in education. In 1974, the city of Green Bay elected for the first time its school board members, and she was elected. And she served on the Green Bay School Board until 1981. She came back in the late 90s, I think early 90s, 1993, and served another 9 years and served 5 years as the school board president. Now, that's just the beginning of her background as community activities. She was the campaign and board chairman of the United Way. She was a board member and the president of the Wisconsin Council on Children and Families. She was a trustee of the UW Green Bay Chancellor's Council. She served on the Governor's Task Force on Educational Excellence. She was a coordinator of services for the Sexual Assault Center of Family Services and a longtime member of the State Board of the League of Women Voters. So obviously Judy received a lot of awards. And the simple fact is we just got her at the end, and when she came in to be a regent, it was obvious that she had great background. Just some of the awards she won was, she won an award from the Girl Scouts. She was named the 2011 Badger alum by the local alumni chapter. But when she got to the Board of Regents, she didn't stop there. Judy was on the Chancellor Selection Committee for UW Green Bay, La Crosse, Parkside, Milwaukee, and Stevens Point. She served as chair of both Stevens Point and Green Bay. In addition, she was on the University Hospital Clinics Authority Board, the Tech College Board, and the Educational Communications Board. But most of all, what was important for this body, it was that she took her experience, her expertise, and her compassion and her commitment to education, and she served as the vice chair and the chair of the Education Committee. And what I remember most about it was that in her own quiet but very stern way, everybody had an opportunity to be heard. She dealt with difficult issues, charter schools, transfers, new courses. But everybody had their opportunity to be heard. And yet she was very persuasive because with her, she had an open mind and asked a lot of good questions. And not only was she flexible in her own decision making, but she was really important that she brought a lot of people together in very difficult situations. And I've really come to admire Judy, not because she ever agreed with me, because she seldom did, but more important because she has lived a full life of trying to do something for education, and a full life for people who probably need more help in education. And I'm referring to the fact that she promoted the accessibility of this great public institution. And so it's an honor to me to read the following resolution for Regent Judith V. Crane, Judy to me and to you. Whereas Judith V. Crane has dedicated 7 years of exemplary service as Regent of the University of Wisconsin System from 2005 to 2012. And whereas Judy drew upon her experiences as a former trustee of the Chancellor's Council at UW-Green Bay, an institution with which she had cultivated deep and lasting ties, and whereas Judy's decades-long advocacy for public education, elementary, secondary, and post-secondary, and her service as school board president in Green Bay resulted in consummate leadership as chair of the Education Committee, a role in which her tenure was marked by thoughtful engagement with the academic issues and policies within the committee's oversight, including transfer charter schools and academic program approval. And whereas Judy established the precedent of bringing provosts to the table at Education Committee meetings to enhance dialogue and the exchange of perspectives and expertise among the system's governing board members and its chief academic officers. And whereas Judy has been a great champion of LEAP Wisconsin, tirelessly promoting its focus on learning outcomes, including knowledge, intellectual and practical skills, personal and social responsibility, and integrating applied learning that will best prepare UW students for work, life, and citizenship in a global society. And whereas Judy has been a tremendously active, engaged member during her tenure as a regent, serving on what may be a record-setting 15 committees and boards, including chairing 4 committees, vice-chairing 1 committee, and serving as a regent member of 3 boards, the Hospital Authority Board, the Wisconsin Technical College System Board, and Wisconsin Educational Communications Board. And whereas Judy has played a significant role in guiding the selection of university leadership, chairing 2 Chancellor Search Committees for UW-Stevens Point and UW-Green Bay, and serving as a member of the search committees for UW-Milwaukee, UW-Parkside, and UW-La Crosse. And whereas Judy is a proud alumna of UW-Madison, where she earned a bachelor's degree in history, and whereas Judy has worked to publicly honor and reward the commitment of extraordinary UW educators serving on 2 Regent Award committees, diversity, which she chaired, and academic staff excellence, and has been a staunch and articulate advocate for advancing excellence, affordability, and accessibility within the UW system. And whereas Judy's master's degree in theological studies from the Garrett Theological Seminary goes a long way in explaining her calm demeanor, her gentle yet rigorous style of probing complex issues, and the overall aplomb with which she contributed to making policy with her Regent colleagues. Be it therefore resolved that the Board of Regents of the UW system highly commends and honors Judith V. Crane for her distinguished service and skilled stewardship on behalf of higher education in Wisconsin. Please come up.
Okay, Judy, here we go. This one's that one. I know we got people taking pictures. That good?
Those West High people never let you forget that they think they're better than you. And that's why those of us who were pergolders have chips on our shoulder. Thank you so very much, David, and it's Vandermeulen. I would also like to have you indulge me. I have a few members of my family who are with me today. Many of you have met John previously. Our daughter-in-law Mary is here, and our son Chris. And 2 of my grandchildren, I'm going to ask them to stand, please. You have to indulge your grandmother. This is Kyle Crane. Kyle has just completed his freshman year at this institution at UW-Milwaukee, and Erin has just completed her freshman year at UW-Madison, and I'm very proud that they're with us today. Thank you. 7 years ago, I stood at my place at the Board of Regents table and was introduced to my new Regent colleagues. Frankly, I was nervous, hoping that I would measure up to the challenge of sitting at this prestigious table. But I was also eager, for I was a new Regent who had presumptuously sought this position by sending a letter to the governor laying out my own case for his consideration. Thus, at that first board meeting day in 2005, I was very grateful to Governor Jim Doyle for giving me this opportunity, and my gratitude is much, much greater today. Serving as a regent has been an extraordinary personal experience, and especially appreciated because it came to this rather late stage of life for me. I have felt very, very lucky, and I am very proud. My pride is in the University of Wisconsin. I truly believe that this is the finest higher education system anywhere, in all its manifestations, our 26 university and college campuses and extension locations, each wonderfully unique to its circumstances and mission. This is the reality of the Wisconsin idea that binds us together for the betterment of all citizens and residents, for all Wisconsin communities, for the state itself, for its impact on the country and the world through its graduates, research, and scholarship. Some of you have noticed that the car that I drive carries a bumper sticker that says, "I believe in public education." This has been so through a fair number of Crane automobiles. John has indulged me by making certain that we have a supply that should last until I'm no longer allowed to drive. I make this public proclamation with deep conviction. I want to be known as one who believes that the importance of first-rate public education from early childhood through higher education cannot be broadcast loudly and widely enough. This has been the focus of much of my life. Thus, I have believed that my tenure as a regent has been a continuation of advocacy and involvement in K-12 public schools, including, as you've heard, the Green Bay School Board. I see all aspects of public education as of one piece in our communal responsibility to each other for the future, especially our responsibility for the children, the future of our children and our young people, which of course is the future of community, country, and world. And so this I believe. I believe in public education that prepares students for rewarding employment that enhances personal achievement and satisfying lives. I believe in public education that contributes to appreciation and knowledge of the natural world and the arts that enhance our imaginations and emotional lives. I believe in public education that opens minds to people all around us and cultures around the world. I believe in public education that grounds us in knowledge and understanding of history, our own and that of others. I believe in public education that nurtures citizenship and care for the country and the world. I believe in public education that values diversity of all peoples and that is truly accessible to all. I believe in the public education values embraced by the University of Wisconsin. It has been my great privilege to be with all of you in dedication to those values. On this day, I want to salute so many people I deeply respect for all you are and do. I have come to know you as exceptional contributors to the University of Wisconsin world and its locations throughout the state. I have such a high regard for all our university and college campuses and have loved every visit I have made. I am grateful to campus administrators, faculty, staff, and certainly students for your hospitality when we were present for meetings and when I was welcomed on individual visits. It has been great to interact with you at meetings such as this and on various committees. It was especially meaningful to me to be a part of a number of chancellor searches where I learned so much about your campus and where it was a privilege to be a part of selecting some of our fine campus leaders. I wish to express my sincere admiration for the chancellors of this system who offer strong and visionary leadership in very difficult times. Your challenges are huge, and your leadership is more important than it has ever been. And as for the University of Wisconsin system leadership and staff, it has been a great honor to work with the dedicated professionals of our excellent system. I hope you know of my regard and gratitude. The great people in the Van Nuys 18th floor office that serves us as a Board of Regents is so superb that we take you for granted in your as well as your sterling work. When the Regents look prepared and competent, it has a lot to do with the support that you've given us. I thank you now, and I want you to know that I will deeply miss you. I've also had the privilege of much interaction with the system's Office of Academic Affairs and have been continually inspired by the vision and high standards of those who make up this staff. You have given me knowledge and inspiration and the gift of collegiality. Your work is at the core of what a University of Wisconsin education represents. I hope and trust that your role will continue its high-quality academic support and resources to our campuses and provosts. And as for the provosts, I've had some of my most interesting, informing, and inspiring times as a Regents with you. If I were starting to build a career, I think I'd strive to be a provost. You are awesome. To all the outstanding leaders of the UW and those whose competency and dedication support our system, I am proud to have worked with you. And Kevin Riley, for your reliable strength, your knowledge and vision, your balanced wisdom, your respectful leadership, and your good-humored collegiality, we are all grateful and fortunate. I leave the Board of Regents with great affection and respect for my colleagues, some of whom have already left the board, as I am now leaving. I have been continually struck with how fortunate I have been to serve with such outstanding public servants. I have loved working with you and will be with you in spirit in the time ahead, including perhaps trying to somehow get my point of view on the table. I well know that your challenges are enormous. I will be one of so many who will be relying on your courage and strength to ensure the present and future quality of this great university system. And finally, I want my colleagues to know that I've been greatly enriched by your friendship, which will last forever. It is particularly meaningful to be recognized today along with my friend, Mike Spector. We came to the board together, and now we go. And I go in the spirit of Kevin Riley, leaving a little poem by Emily Dickinson. I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell. They'd advertise, you know. How dreary to be somebody. How public, like a frog, to tell one's name the livelong June to an admiring bog. You know, I didn't find it all that dreary to be a public somebody, a frog sounding off in the bog. But now it's back to a part of the bog where nobodies can make a difference too. Please remember that we nobodies will be out there croaking our reminder of the public responsibility to the mission of the great University of Wisconsin to its people. It is the Wisconsin idea. My friends, my best to you always.
I'll next call on Regent Pruitt, who will present a resolution of appreciation for Mike Spector.
Thank you. As I was thinking about what to say about Mike Spector and all that he has contributed to this board over the last 7 years, I quickly realized I had more than enough material. And that caused me to think that I was going to like this, because I could be up here for quite a while. Maybe I'd bring some PowerPoint slides. Maybe I'd reprise those halcyon days when I was chair of the Business and Finance Committee, got to read those long reports and command everyone's attention. And then I remembered one of the things that Mike Spector likes least in this world, which is people droning on and not knowing when to stop talking. Mike has been known to point out a time or two in the last 7 years, quote, Regents can read, you know. So since this is meant to recognize him, and in deference to that, I left a lot on the drawing room floor, but I still strongly suspect that Mike may be checking his watch a time or two in the next couple minutes and wondering when I was just going to get done with this. But truth be told, he bears some responsibility for the length of my remarks, because if he had done a little less or left a little smaller legacy, this wouldn't be a problem. So here we go. Mike loves sports. We all know Mike loves sports, all kinds of sports. So that got me thinking of what Jerry Jones, who owns the Dallas Cowboys, but made his fortune in sales, used to say. He tells the story of being asked, what makes a good salesman? And Jones would reply, first, ask for the money. And I can't remember the other three things. So that story got me thinking about what makes a good regent. And I realized that there are at least 4 things, not one. First, you need a deep and abiding commitment to the higher education mission and a love of the University of Wisconsin. In his Nobel Prize speech in 1950, William Faulkner said, I believe man will not merely endure, he will prevail. He is immortal, not because he alone among creatures has an inexhaustible voice, but because he has a soul, a spirit, capable of compassion and sacrifice and endurance. Mike Spector has such a soul and such a spirit. We all know and have seen how much he cares about education at all levels during the last 7 years, and how passionate he is about this university. And I think it's especially appropriate that he is being recognized here at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. He has lived virtually his whole life within walking distance of this campus. And I can say for a fact he knows literally every square inch of this campus. He's like the groundskeeper at UWM in terms of any street intersecting with any other street or any building location. And it was that, I think, understanding, appreciation, persistence, and leadership that made him so essential in being an important part of the leadership that led to the purchase of the Columbia St. Mary's facility campus, which is the most significant capital planning decision, I think, at UWM since its creation. I would say to Chancellor Lovell, I am not a big fan of the Northwest Quadrant as a name. Might suggest Mike Spector Village or something, but just throwing out there, just an idea. Mike also loves UW-Madison, as we all know. He went there as an undergraduate and then went to Harvard Law School to steal from JFK. He had the best of both worlds, a UW education and a Harvard degree. And I can attest firsthand that that affection for UW-Madison and its critical place in the UW system made him such an invaluable mentor, advisor, and advocate when we all went through that little family argument a year or so ago. What makes a good regent? Second, I think integrity and is pretty high on that list. And once again, as we all know, Mike has that in spades. His reputation for integrity and his considerable diplomatic skills are the reason he got all the easy assignments during his time on the board, like crafting a policy for what we do when one of our employees is convicted of a felony, or how do you rewrite chapters 17 and 18 of the Wisconsin Administrative Code. And as I watched Mike navigate those waters, I was reminded of something that an Israeli diplomat, Ty Becker, once said. He said, diplomacy is the art of letting someone else get your way. And every step of the way in dealing with these kinds of charged issues, I think Mike has been the supreme diplomat with unquestioned integrity. What makes a good regent? Third, I think you have to be both a student of history and an advocate for change. And that appreciation for history has served Mike well since he was an undergraduate at UW-Madison and during his time all the way through his presidency of this board. He led us during a year of transition and change in our membership. That is not easy. We all know that. And I think he handled it superbly well. And I think that appreciation and blending of both understanding and appreciating history, but also understanding the need for change, has also led him to spearhead a genuine reinvention of this board and indeed the UW system. Our work today here is very different than it was a year ago this day when Mike became president of this board. And I think we all owe him an enormous debt of gratitude and appreciation for that. What makes a good regent? Finally, I would suggest that you must be a good colleague, mentor, and friend. Concerned less about who gets the credit and more about getting things done. It reminds me of the story at the Catholic elementary school. Some of you may have heard. It's just hosting a snack break for the students. And on the table is a big bowl of apples, and next to the bowl of apples is a sign, "Take just one, God is watching." And at the other end of the table is a big plate of chocolate chip cookies. And as you approach, you see a second handmade sign made by one of the students, and it just says, "Take as many as you want, God is watching the apples." The moral of that story is you will be judged by what you do when no one is watching. And I think by any measure, as a member of this board, as vice president, as president of this board, Mike passed that test as well. He never sought the limelight. He just did what he thought was right, without worrying about who got the credit, but knowing that all of his colleagues were sure that he was doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. I could go on, but I think the music's playing in Mike's head. Probably started about 45 seconds ago. So let me just conclude with this. I quoted a couple people, from Jerry Jones to William Faulkner. So let me close by quoting Mike himself when he was speaking not too long ago at the welcome of commencement at UW-Madison, which also happened to coincide with his 50th anniversary of graduation. And he reflected on the ups and downs of those 15 years, and this is what he said to the graduates. Or he asked of them, actually. A quote, "Embrace the next stage of life and each succeeding stage with all the passion you can muster. Savor it, take advantage of it, give it all you got. You will regret anything less," unquote. Mike, you have followed your commandments for 7 years on this board, and we all have no doubt you will continue to do so, whatever lies ahead in your many continuing community involvements, and with Joan, your kids, and especially those grandkids who live around the corner. Thank you for all you've done and all you gave us. Mike Spector, come on up and I'll read your resolution. Yeah, let me read this. Let me read this first. I'm sorry, I went a little out of order. I always do. I won't call the roll or anything either. Whereas Michael J. Spector provided sound leadership, sound stewardship, and wise counsel during his 7 years as member of the University of Wisconsin System Board of Regents, including serving as vice president of the board from June 2009 to June 2011, and president as of June 2011. And whereas Mike helped shape university policies and the board's understanding of its core responsibilities during a time of both transition and increased delegation of decision-making to UW institutions, pledging that Regents must be involved in taking, quote, renewed measure of what we do, how we do it, and why we do it, in a new landscape that includes long-sought leadership flexibilities and statutory changes. And whereas through his service as vice chair and a member of the Education Committee, Mike sought a wide variety of input in helping to improve the excellence of teaching and learning at all UW campuses, and also worked diligently to resolve differences during the final stages of revisions to chapters UWS 17 and 18 of the Administrative Code. And whereas as president, Mike appointed and served on the ad hoc work group on UW system structure and governance and the ad hoc committee on the UW System Board of Regents' roles and responsibilities, two work groups which recommended important changes in the board's roles and ways of operating, leading to significant changes in the content, focus, and format of board meetings, and to the creation of a new standing committee on research, economic development, and innovation Yes, the Regents could read, but it's better if I keep reading. Whereas Mike broadened the UW system's partnerships, collaborations, and outreach as the Regent representative of the Hospital Authority Board and liaison to the Association of Governing Boards, and served UW students, faculty, and staff through his service on the Student Discipline and Personnel Matters Review Committee, as well as through his role as chair of the committee regarding faculty, academic, staff disciplinary process. And whereas Mike is a proud alumnus of UW-Madison, where he earned his undergraduate degree 50 years ago this year, and has been a strong advocate for a robust partnership between the flagship university and the system as a whole. And whereas Mike recognized the talent, potential, and excellence of future campus leaders as a member of the special Regent search committees for UW-Milwaukee, UW-Parkside, and UW-Whitewater chancellors, and remains committed to serving as a voice for the needs of UW stakeholders. Be it therefore resolved that the Board of Regents in the University of Wisconsin system highly commends and honors Regent Emeritus Michael J. Spector for his distinguished tenure, his commitment to the Wisconsin idea, and his service to the UW system, its students and staff, and the citizens of Wisconsin. Thank you, Chuck.
Well, thank you very much. Those were very nice words, and I appreciate them very much. Thank you, Chuck. First, I want to introduce Joan, my wife, who hasn't come to many of these meetings, but there she is. And to her left, my son, John, our oldest son, who is the father of our two grandchildren who are in school today, so they couldn't be here. I start with sincere thanks to all those who made my 7 years on the Board of Regents the culmination of my longtime involvement with Wisconsin education. I am especially indebted to numerous system leaders and other personnel, to a truly outstanding group of chancellors and provosts, and I second what Judy said about our chancellors and provosts, to effective faculty, staff, and student representatives, and to a multitude of Regent colleagues, irrespective of which governor appointed them, for their collective friendship, patience, knowledge, dedication, good judgment, collegiality, and lots of laughs throughout the last 7 years. Various specific Regent-related memories stand out for me. Voting, and I think this will sound familiar to you, on a highly controversial and emotional tuition increase proposal at my first Regent meeting, which Judy had to vote at as well. Shepherding UW-7 through the one-year intricacies of the shared governance process. Attending, along with many of you, 2 Rose Bowl games as part of the official party. Advocating and working behind the scenes successfully for the purchase of UWM's so-called Northwest Quadrant from Columbia St. Mary's Hospital. Working closely with David Walsh and our late Regent Roger Axtell on the executive committee of the UW Hospital and Clinics. Working closely with Chuck, Brent, and Kevin on board leadership matters. Participating under Chuck and Kevin's leadership in the historic dispute regarding the continuation of UW-Madison in the UW system. Initiating and participating in the recent board assessment of its proper role, focus, and manner of doing business in a post-Act 10 world. And the honor of speaking, as Chuck said, as the Regent representative at one of the recent UW-Madison commencement ceremonies. Actually, it was the School of Letters and Science, because I was a history major too, Judy, on the 50th anniversary of my graduation from that institution. In addition, my work on UW-17-18 gave me the chance to observe firsthand the diligence, the intelligence, and the work ethic of Jane Rideau, and how those characteristics were so congruent with what was needed for the board secretary position that Chuck and I redesigned after the retirement of Judy Temby. I've learned a few lessons worthy of comment. Always remember the need to preserve the high quality of our educational product amidst the financial realities of tough economic times. Nothing dilutes a brand more quickly than a diminishment of core quality. Judy Crane has been my conscience on that subject of quality since our efforts on the 2003-04 Governor's Task Force on K-12 educational excellence. Remember as well that the UW system is a system of public higher education. Just as my friends at Marquette University properly emphasize their commitment to education in a Jesuit context, so must the Regents be committed to education in the equal opportunity, educated citizenry context at the heart of its mission. Take especially seriously the statutory delegation of power to you alone of selecting, supporting, and evaluating the system president and its chancellors. I'm convinced more than ever after these 7 years that who occupies each of these positions is absolutely crucial to the success of Wisconsin public higher education. Surely it is rational that historians identify Wisconsin's higher education experiences by reference to the tenure of system presidents and individual chancellors rather than by any other designation. Finally, following Judy's lead, and with thanks to Kevin, I'm pleased to conclude with a slightly adapted version of a famous American poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Thou too sail on, O Board of Regents. Sail on, O system strong and great. Humanity with all its fears, with all the hopes of future years, is hanging breathless on thy fate. We know what master laid thy keel, what workman wrought thy ribs of steel, who made each mast and sail and rope, what anvils rang, what hammers beat, in what a forge and what a heat were shaped the anchors of thy hope. Fear not each sudden sound and shock, 'tis of the wave and not the rock. 'Tis but the flapping of the sail, and not a rent made by the gale. In spite of rock and tempest roar, in spite of false lights on the shore, sail on, nor fear to breast the sea. Our hearts, our hopes are all with thee. Our hearts, our hopes, our prayers, our tears, our faith triumphant, or our fears, are all with thee, are all with thee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike and Judy. For some more recognition, I'll now call upon Regent Drew, the Chair of the Academic Staff Excellence Awards, to introduce this year's winners.
Thank you, Brent. You know, when my time comes in a couple of years, I'll probably be talking about that fish fry last night. It was awesome. It is with great pleasure that we welcome here today the winners of this year's Academic Staff Regents Award for Excellence. This is the highest recognition to be bestowed on members of the UW system's academic staff. With this award, we, the Board of Regents, salute the hard work, dedication, and innovative thinking of our talented and often overlooked and underappreciated academic staff members. Tough as it was to narrow the field, we are presenting awards this morning to 2 individuals and 1 program. The board is very pleased to recognize and honor these winners, whose outstanding work helps to strengthen and invigorate not only our UW institutions, but the communities in which they serve. It was my privilege to chair the selection committee that had the very interesting and challenging job of deciding these winners. I'd like to thank my fellow regents on the committee, Regent Brent Smith and Regent Mark Tyler, for all their hard work. I think I can speak for all of us in saying that we are truly impressed by the talent, commitment, and achievements of all the nominees. It is my privilege to present the first individual academic staff Regent Award for Excellence, and it goes to Denise Aylen, Director of Research and Sponsored Programs at UW-Whitewater. Denise's time at UW-Whitewater is a real success story, both for her individually and for the institution. She joined the university in 1992 as a member of the support staff in new student programs. In the ensuing years, she progressively moved up through the ranks to her current position as Director of the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs, where the goals are to enhance the research productivity of the university, increase internal and external support through gifts, grants, and contracts, promote and facilitate technology commercialization, entrepreneurship and economic development, and foster regional economic engagement. By all accounts, they've done a fine job of it. In the decade or so under Denise's leadership, the amount of extramural funding acquired by the campus has increased by more than 300% over the preceding decade, going for an average of $1.5 million annually to more than $6 million annually. Last year alone, UW-Whitewater received more than $7.8 million in extramural awards, an institutional milestone that is particularly remarkable given the uncertain economic times. Denise has also assumed responsibility for a number of key institutional initiatives related to outreach and economic development. She was the first author of the grant proposal to the Federal Economic Development Administration that resulted in a $4.2 million grant to build a business incubator and enhance infrastructure in the Whitewater University Technology Park. Last December, she led UW-Whitewater's efforts to get a $6 million federal grant to fund an initiative that unites economic development and small business development centers within the university with more than 30 regional organizations and institutions. Perhaps less obvious is the benefit to students of Denise's work. Because of her innovations, unique opportunities have been created for students to become actively involved in research and business. You may have seen some of that work showcased at the posters in the Rotunda event earlier this year. As if this is not enough, Denise has also served many leadership roles at UW-Whitewater, including 2 terms as Academic Staff Assembly Chair. Her impact then is far-reaching. In fact, here's what Interim Provost Christine Clemens has to say about Denise. It is impossible to imagine UW-Whitewater would have achieved our current entrepreneurial, research-active, and externally oriented culture without her as an active member of the leadership team. Her efforts and contributions have been pivotal in transforming the campus. Please join me in welcoming our first Academic Staff Excellence Award winner, Denise Aylen.
Put my glasses on. I really appreciate the kind words. This is a little overwhelming. I know it's a cliche, but most days I'm still surprised that they pay me to do a job that I like so much, much less give me an award for it. The work that I do isn't particularly interesting to people other than those who share my passion for research administration and economic development. In fact, when I start talking about ROI, NIH, PUIs, people get glassy-eyed and start looking for the cocktail or the door. So rather than talk about the work that I do, I would like to offer something of an ode to the people in place that have shaped my professional career and have enriched my personal life. I'm truly honored to be a member of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater family. I believe that excellence occurs at the intersection of leadership, innovation, creativity, and hard work. I have been blessed to have the opportunity to play in the traffic at that intersection. This award is truly recognition of Whitewater's strong campus leadership. I must thank Chancellor Taufer for his innovative vision and commitment to research, entrepreneurship, and service. I direct the Research and Sponsored Programs Office, and my team finds ourselves at the epicenter of an organizational renaissance as we fully embrace and implement the Wisconsin idea. My team has been charged with incorporating additional services and changing our mission to focus on entrepreneurship, intrapreneurship, engagement, and technology transfer. 5 years ago, it was inconceivable that our institution would have the will, the resources, and/or the capacity to actively engage in these activities. However, Chancellor Telfer has been truly visionary in supporting innovative ideas and encouraging us to be entrepreneurial. Our initiatives will enhance the research productivity of our campus, community, and region, and position Whitewater as a hub for innovation. I thank Dr. Telfer for his unwavering support. I am honored to have the opportunity to collaborate with and serve our talented faculty and staff grant seekers. We actively seek opportunities to partner with local organizations and government agencies, nurturing relationships that are vital to the growth and development of our campus and the region. While some leaders simply focus on reacting to immediate needs, putting out fires, and achieving short-term goals, I have tried to follow the model of our provost, Bev Copper. I strive to embrace a more strategic approach to ensure long-term results that engage everyone and focus on service, that break down silos, and lead to more opportunities for faculty, staff, and students. I thank you, Dr. Copper, for leading by example and supporting me and my team. I try to approach my work with good humor and dogged perseverance, which some people call stubbornness, but I prefer to call dogged perseverance, following in the footsteps of my early mentors, Richard Lee, who is no longer with us, and John Stone. They took a leap of faith, hiring a young professional with no grants experience, no management experience, who hadn't even finished her undergraduate degree at Whitewater yet. And I think this award is a testament to the time and effort that they invested in helping me to grow as a professional. Our institution is responsible first and foremost for providing world-class experiences for our students. And we take that responsibility very seriously and graduate some of the most talented, creative, and entrepreneurial students in the state. They inspire me every day. I'm also lucky to be involved in the collaboration that was mentioned between our city, our Community Development Authority, and the university at the Whitewater University Technology Park. Our Innovation Center is the cornerstone of the park and serves as a catalyst for economic development, engaging our faculty, our staff, our students, and local businesses and entrepreneurs to create jobs, foster applied research, and launch new companies. This is one example of Whitewater's commitment to strengthening our communities and supporting the growth agenda for Wisconsin, and I'm proud to serve our stakeholders in pursuing those goals. I'm surrounded by a team of truly exceptional professionals in my office, and this award recognizes their dedication and hard work, and I thank them every day for what they do. And did I mention that all of them but one are graduates of UW-Whitewater? Our campus is truly the epitome of excellence. Our campus leaders are innovative, our students are dedicated scholars and fearless entrepreneurs. Our faculty are gifted teachers, researchers, and outreach professionals. Our staff are talented instructors and committed administrators, and our partners are world-class. As Gandhi stated so eloquently, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in service to others. I'm happy to find myself a member of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater family, and I thank you for recognizing our commitment to excellence and honoring me with this award.
I'm pleased to present the second individual Academic Staff Regents Award for Excellence to someone whom a colleague describes as one of the most knowledgeable, thorough, and constructive problem solvers around, and that is Donna Weber, Director of Human Resources at UW-Eau Claire. Donna has been part of the UW system community for 32 years. After starting at UW-Stout, she joined UW-Eau Claire back in 1989 as Payroll and Benefits Supervisor. She became the HR Director in 2001. As one of her nominators pointed out, in normal times, whatever those may be, Donna's exemplary performance would be more than sufficient to warrant her receiving this award. We all know, of course, that in the last few years, it has been anything but normal. Between furloughs, alterations in collective bargaining, rescinded pay raises, benefits changes, budget bills and lapses, new software systems, and assorted other challenges, big and small, the past few years have made human resources a very interesting place to work. Through it all, Donna has been what former Chancellor Brian Levin-Stankiewicz called a trusted, calm force. Or, as someone else summed up, if you want a straight answer, go to Donna. Her in-depth knowledge of the mandated legislative and program changes, along with her ability to communicate effectively, make her a trusted resource for employees at UW-Eau Claire. Donna has also been involved in the formation of UW-Eau Claire's Classified Staff Council, which has significantly raised the profile of classified staff on that campus. Her expertise and experience have made a valuable resource to the UW system as well. Donna has been a strong advocate and leader for the work of the system's talent acquisition management team. She's also been involved with the implementation of the new HRS system and serves on the University Personnel System Steering Committee. But while these accomplishments and knowledge are very impressive indeed, what really sets Donna apart is something else. Over and over, people who have interacted with Donna say that at the end of the day, she always remembers what really counts. As Donna says, I believe in supporting an environment that recognizes lifelong learning and realizes that work, although a large part, is only part of our already rich lives. Put it very simply, Donna keeps the human in human resources. Please join me in congratulating our second winner of the Academic Staff Regent Award for Excellence, Donna Weber.
Well, thank you, Regent Smith, for your very kind words. I cannot tell you how overwhelmed and honored and very humbled I am to be here today to receive this award. And I want to reiterate what Regent Smith said. Being in human resources is not always about the programs, the wonderful programs that the universities have. It's about the people. The people are our most valuable resource. And so in human resources, we like to treat them with respect and dignity. I tried to think of what makes someone successful in a human resources office, and I know that part of that for me is the support that I've received from my family. So to follow course, I want to tell you that 43 years ago, I married the boy next door in country terms, and my very best friend. And he's with me here today, and it's with great pride that I have him seated beside me. One of my 3 adult daughters is here, and by the way, she got her undergraduate in education and kinesiology from UW-Eau Claire and her master's degree at UW-Stout. Her husband, Joe, is with us, and my 5 grandchildren, who I would like to have stand. I think the only reason the grandchildren are here is because we took them to the Brewer game last night. But, you know, aside from that, they are the loves of my life. I was born and raised on a dairy farm in west central Wisconsin, that northwest quadrant of the state. And it was early on in my childhood that I believe I learned what it takes to be successful in a human resources field. And I learned it from my parents. My parents taught me by their example and by their teaching to be compassionate and non-judgmental. They taught me to treat everyone with dignity and respect, to be God-fearing, and they taught me that good old Wisconsin work ethic. They taught me to be compassionate and to really, truly care about the people around me. And sure, I need to know a little bit about payroll taxes and comprehending complicated legislative documents and Board of Regents policies and many other guidelines that we need to follow. But really what makes me a success in human resources is what comes from within. And it's not difficult for me to be successful in human resources because of what I have within. It is what I am. It's not a job. It's just who I am. It's what I am. It defines me. And as Regent Smith indicated, there's been lots of interesting experiences over the past few years, but I'm not going to elaborate on all the trials and tribulations. What I'd like to share with you is that through the years, I have had the opportunity and the experience of dealing in real life matters with many of our employees. I've sat with a new family as they fill out a health insurance application for their firstborn child. I've been at the hospital helping a dying employee get their financial affairs in order so that their family will at least be taken care of monetarily. I've helped a newly married couple get their paperwork in order, and I've held the hands of those that are going through divorce because they didn't know where to turn. All of these experiences, telling someone, great, you got the job, or I'm sorry, you no longer have a job, have been rewarding in a very interesting way. There was one experience that I need to share with you, and it was a man that came into my office one day and for an interview, and he sat down across from my desk, and he leaned across and he said, well, it's obvious you haven't changed the picture on your website for a while. I said, oh, okay, I'll give you that one because you're right, I haven't. Then he leaned a little more forward and he said, and by the way, I'm not interested in the job I'm interviewing for today. I want your job, and it's obvious that you'll be retiring shortly. He didn't get the job. Lots of difficult and interesting questions come into an HR office through the years and through the days. Many years ago, I had a phone call, and I picked it up, and the voice on the other end of the line said, just a quick question. When is the 4th of July this year? And 1,000 things are running through my mind, and I'm thinking, is this a trick? Am I on candid camera? What is this about? And finally, I just had to say, it's on the 4th of July this year. And they said, oh, thank you. That's very helpful. Aside from all the interesting and experiences that I may likely put in a book someday, I need to tell you about the great team that we have in our office at UW-Eau Claire Human Resources. And they're the real reason I'm here today, because I couldn't be successful if it weren't for the wonderful team of people that I have back home at UW-Eau Claire. Through the trials and the tribulations of these last few years with furlough and imputed tax and HRS and APBS and now the university personnel, I've had the opportunity to be part of the leadership roles in these. So I'm off to Madison a good share of the time. And while I'm gone, the people in our office come to work every day. They step up to the plate, they keep their eye on the ball, and they get the job done. So if this is my moment in time, I certainly owe much of it, if not all of it, to them. We've struck out a few times. We've hit a couple of home runs, and here we are today. So my moment in time, I would like to dedicate to my team back at UW-Eau Claire, the unsung heroes. Thank you very much for this award.
Good afternoon. Along with the individual winners of this award, we also recognize outstanding programs. In that category, our final Academic Staff Regents Award for Excellence goes this year to the UW Platteville Writing Center. Most of us have been writing in one form or another since we could wrap our fingers around a pencil or a crayon. Yet, as we know, that is we don't do it well, and it doesn't come easily often. At the same time, employers keep telling us that they want and need workers who can communicate clearly and effectively. On the UW-Platteville campus, there is help at hand. Under the leadership of Evelyn Martins, Director of Writing and Tutoring Resources, and Coordinator Russ Brickey, the UW-Platteville Writing Center staff makes it their mission to help students become more confident and effective writers. In 2010, more than 1,400 students took part in sessions offered by the Writing Center, and it seems to be paying off. As a nominator noted, students who make regular use of the Writing Center have, as a whole, done markedly better on their written assignments. Evelyn and Russ deserve much credit. When Evelyn took on the role of the Writing Center coordinator back in 2003, the operation was a fairly small, poorly understood academic support service, serving only 300 to 400 students annually. Under Evelyn's leadership, however, it has become widely used and well recognized for its critical role in university life. When Russ Brickey joined the center in 2009, that further enhanced the services provided to students and faculty. As might be expected, the Writing Center does work with students in one-on-one writing sessions, but it's also involved in much more. Evelyn and Russ mentor and coach a highly skilled team of peer tutors, and they assist faculty in developing, Evelyn and Russ assist faculty in developing and revising courses across the curriculum to include more writing. They are broadening the outreach of underrepresented and underserved populations on the campus, including students of color, students with disabilities, non-traditional students, LGBTQ and international students, and they offer presentations to faculty and students on subjects like avoiding plagiarism and effective library research. As if that's not enough, the Writing Center staff and tutors are also acclaimed for their work producing Stylus, an anthology of freshman writing, a unique publication that highlights students' writing from their required composition classes. As a colleague summed up, and I quote, "Their stewardship efforts will continue to benefit the entire university as we make progress toward the goal of preparing students for a 21st century workforce in which strong writing skills are a necessity for obtaining meaningful, sustainable employment and engaging in community building and problem solving," end quote. It's my pleasure to present the Regents Academic Staff Excellence Award for a program to Evelyn Martins and the UW-Platteville Writing Center.
I was born and raised in South Louisiana in the swamp, almost literally in the swamp. And when I was in the 4th grade, a very innovative teacher, had her class reenact the Rosa Parks bus situation. And different people in the class had to do different things. And we got to build a bus and paint the bus and act out the parts. And my job was to sit in the corner, and we all had to write a paper. And my job was to do some peer tutoring, and that was all I got to do. And it really made me mad. And the other part of this was that my teacher said, you cannot fix their papers. You cannot edit their papers. And if you do that, I will know. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? And that was in the early 70s. And I have been doing Writing Center work ever since. And no matter what else I try to do in life, I always end up coming back to this, because I suppose you would say it is my passion. When I got the letter saying, please limit your remarks to 4 to 5 minutes, I said, well, that must be a typo, right? Right? You can ask me to talk about writing, or you can ask me to talk for 4 or 5 minutes, but we can't do both. Our Regent Spectre will be glad to know I will wrap it up shortly. It's really misleading for me to be up here. There are so many people at UW-Platteville who should be standing here, but if I had hauled them all in, we'd have to replace the Regents, and I'm not sure that would have gone over real big. Some of them are going, no, it would have been okay with me. No, okay. First of all, our Chancellor, who's here today, Chancellor Dennis Shields, our Provost, Dr. Mitty Nimitz Vander Herden, she just got married and we're learning her name. My boss, Becky Peters, who really took a leap of faith with the Writing Center about 9 years ago. My colleague, Russ Bricky, who couldn't be here today. But some other people really deserve a lot of credit for what's going on at UW-Platteville with regard to writing. Our faculty, it's not always easy for faculty who are outside of writing disciplines to understand what a writing center does. So for them to take a leap of faith with us and for us to say, look, they're going to come in, they're going to have a great session, but you're not going to have a student who's making a D at this point walk away after half an hour with an A. It's much messier. It's much more complex. It requires a lot more time. And we've had so many outstanding faculty on our campus from disciplines other than just the English department, our engineering faculty, industrial studies. I won't start naming names because I don't want to exclude anyone. Our colleagues in student affairs who support us so well, even though not everybody always understands exactly what we do. But the most important people in this scenario and the people who really should be standing up here to get the awards are the peer tutors who go in every day and do a very, very complex job for essentially minimum wage. And they do it so, so well. We were fortunate. I got the email that we'd won the award on Monday of finals week, and after I fell off my chair, I shared it with them. But it's finals week, right? In college, so not exactly a time to stop and celebrate and party. And so we did a brief flash mob, and then everybody got back to work, nose to the grindstone. Students have papers, one paper at a time. So I just want to thank the board so much for recognizing these outstanding people. We will go back to Platteville, which is a wonderful place to be, and keep trying to do it again. Thank you.
Congratulations to all the recipients today. We're now going to adjourn to our committee meetings. The Education Committee is meeting here, and the joint meeting of Capital Planning and Budget and Business Finance and Audit is in Ballroom West.